In the glittering world of old Hollywood, fame was as much a family business as it was a personal dream. Beneath the sequins, champagne, and carefully rehearsed smiles, a secret network of relationships quietly shaped the golden age of cinema. It was a world where stardom could be inherited, rivalries could run in the blood, and some of the most shocking family ties were hidden for decades, often by design. Today, we're pulling back the velvet curtain to reveal the truth about these hidden bloodlines, the secret family connections that bound Hollywood's elite together, often in ways more dramatic than any script they ever performed. That if this kind of story touches your heart, if you're someone who cares about truth, responsibility, and speaking up for the voiceless, please like this video, subscribe to our channel, and share it with someone who should hear it. Let's get started. 1. Loretta Young and Clark Gable, the secret daughter. Few stories embody Hollywood's ability to hide scandal better than the case of Loretta Young and Clark Gable. On screen, they were America's darlings. Off-screen, they shared a secret that could have ended both of their careers. During the filming of The Call of the Wild in 1935, Gable, then married, and Young shared a brief but passionate romance. When Loretta became pregnant, the timing was catastrophic. In an era when a woman's reputation could shatter overnight, she disappeared from the public eye, citing illness. Months later, she returned, adopting a baby girl named Judy. For decades, Judy believed she was Loretta's adopted child until she noticed something uncanny in the mirror, those unmistakable Gable ears. It wasn't until after both actors had passed that the truth emerged. Judy Lewis was, in fact, their biological daughter. Loretta Young's elaborate deception wasn't just a scandal, it was survival. She protected her career, her faith, and her child in a time when Hollywood's golden light had no mercy for women's mistakes. 2. Joan Fontaine and Olivia de Havilland. The feud that tore sisters apart. To the outside world, Olivia de Havilland and Joan Fontaine were the picture of Hollywood elegance. Few knew that their smiles masked one of the most bitter rivalries in entertainment history, a feud that lasted nearly 8 decades. Both sisters were fiercely talented and endlessly compared by the press. When Joan won the Oscar for Suspicion in 1942, beating Olivia's nomination for Hold Back the Dawn, their relationship shattered beyond repair. Olivia reportedly refused to congratulate her sister, and the tabloids devoured the drama. The truth, though, was more human than cruel. They were two sisters caught in a system that thrived on competition and comparison. Hollywood wasn't big enough for both, and the studio machine turned sibling love into lifelong resentment. Even as they grew old, each insisted they had done nothing wrong, but neither ever forgave. Their story remains a haunting reminder of how ambition can divide even the closest of bonds. 3. Charlie Chaplin and Geraldine Chaplin, the legacy of a legend. Charlie Chaplin, the man who made the world laugh through silent tears, left behind not just films but a dynasty. Among his many children, Geraldine Chaplin stood out, inheriting both his expressive features and his artistic soul. But growing up as the daughter of Charlie Chaplin wasn't easy. By the time Geraldine was born, Chaplin was in exile, accused of being a communist sympathizer. The once beloved icon had become a political outcast. Geraldine's childhood was one of privilege and exile, a reminder that fame and rejection often live side by side. Yet, Geraldine transformed that legacy into something uniquely her own. From Dr. Zhivago to Cria Cuervos, she carried her father's genius into new eras of cinema, bridging the silent past with a modern world. The Chaplin name became not a shadow, but a torch passed between generations. 4. Marlon Brando and his troubled children. Marlon Brando was the definition of a Hollywood god, intense, rebellious, and irresistible. But behind his fame was a family life marked by heartbreak. Brando fathered at least 11 children, some biological, some adopted, but his chaotic relationships and emotional distance left lasting scars. His son, Christian Brando, grew up trapped between fame and dysfunction, later serving prison time for manslaughter. His daughter Cheyenne, devastated by family tragedy, took her own life at 25. Brando's extraordinary genius came with an extraordinary cost, the inability to find peace in his own home. Hollywood built him into a myth, but his children's stories revealed the fragile man behind the myth, a father who could embody humanity on screen but struggled to express it in real life. 5. Liza Minnelli and Judy Garland, stardom as inheritance. Judy Garland's voice could break hearts, and her daughter Liza Minnelli inherited both the voice and the pain. Born into the chaos of her mother's fame, Liza grew up surrounded by adoration and addiction. Garland's brilliance was matched only by her vulnerability, and as Liza came of age, she watched her mother struggle under the weight of her own legend. By the time Liza found her own fame with Cabaret, she wasn't just following in her mother's footsteps, she was proving she could survive them. The two women's lives became intertwined symbols of the price of talent. One burned bright and faded too soon. The other endured, carrying the weight of legacy with both pride and fear. Their story is not one of rivalry, but reflection, a mother and daughter bound by love, art, and the unforgiving glare of the spotlight. 6. Desi Arnaz Jr. and Lucille Ball, the family that built television. Before reality TV or YouTube families, there was the Arnaz family. Lucille Ball and Desi Arnaz didn't just star in I Love Lucy, they practically invented the idea of the TV family. But behind their laughs was real heartbreak. Their son, Desi Jr., became a celebrity before he could walk, his birth woven into the show's storyline. Millions watched Lucy Goes to the Hospital, unaware the real-life marriage it mirrored was falling apart. Growing up, Desi Jr. struggled with the shadow of perfection. His parents' on-screen chemistry masked years of betrayal, infidelity, and creative conflict. Yet despite the pain, the Arnaz legacy transformed television forever. They built the modern sitcom, pioneered reruns, and proved that love, even when broken, could change an entire industry. 7. Humphrey Bogart and Stephen Bogart, a son's quest for his father. Humphrey Bogart was the quintessential tough guy, a man who could command the screen with a single glance. But to his son Stephen, he was something else entirely, a mystery. Stephen was only 8 when his father died, leaving behind a myth more powerful than any memory. For years, Stephen Bogart searched for the man behind Casablanca. Through interviews, letters, and his mother Lauren Bacall's recollections, he pieced together a portrait of a father who was flawed, funny, and far more tender than his film persona. Stephen's journey became one of understanding how legends are made, and how love can outlive the man himself. 8. The Barrymore dynasty, America's first acting royalty. Long before the Kardashians, the Barrymores were Hollywood royalty. Maurice Barrymore, a stage actor from England, laid the foundation for a dynasty that would dominate both stage and screen. His children, Lionel, Ethel, and John, became some of the most respected actors of the early 20th century. But fame is a heavy inheritance. John Barrymore's brilliance was rivaled only by his alcoholism. His granddaughter, Drew Barrymore, would later mirror his struggles and redemption decades later. Through Drew, the family legacy came full circle from the silent era to modern stardom, proving that reinvention runs in the blood. 9. Debbie Reynolds, Carrie Fisher, and Billie Lourd, 3 generations of Hollywood women. Some families create movies. Others are the movie. Debbie Reynolds, the perky star of Singin' in the Rain, passed down both her talent and her resilience to her daughter, Carrie Fisher. Carrie's turn as Princess Leia made her a global icon, but fame never insulated her from pain. She spoke openly about addiction, mental health, and the burden of being born into celebrity. When both Carrie and Debbie passed away, just one day apart in 2016, the world wept. Yet the story didn't end there. Carrie's daughter, Billie Lourd, stepped into the same spotlight, honoring both women through her own rising career. 3 women, 3 eras, one unbroken thread of artistry and endurance. 10. Douglas Fairbanks Jr. and Mary Pickford, Hollywood's royal couple and their legacy. Fairbanks and Pickford were Hollywood's first power couple, the original pair who ruled the silver screen like monarchs. Together, They co-founded United Artists and helped invent the modern concept of celebrity. Their home, Pickfair, became a symbol of Hollywood glamour and excess. Their son, Douglas Fairbanks Jr., inherited his father's name and charisma, but sought to carve his own identity. He succeeded, not as a clone of his father, but as a refined version of a bygone era. His life reflected the tension between legacy and individuality, a timeless struggle in Hollywood families. 11. Janet Leigh and Jamie Lee Curtis, the screen queens. Janet Leigh will forever be remembered for Psycho's shower scene, one of the most iconic moments in film history. Her daughter, Jamie Lee Curtis, inherited that same knack for terror and reinvention. When she starred in Halloween in 1978, the world crowned her the new Scream Queen, linking mother and daughter across decades of horror history. Yet beyond the screams lay admiration and love. Jamie often credits her mother's resilience and professionalism as her greatest inheritance. Together, they created a cinematic legacy that spanned 2 generations and reshaped an entire genre. 12. The Redgrave family, British nobility meets Hollywood drama. Acting wasn't just a profession for the Redgraves, it was destiny. From patriarch Michael Redgrave to daughters Vanessa and Lynn and granddaughter Natasha Richardson, the family became a bridge between British theater and Hollywood. But their brilliance was shadowed by tragedy. Natasha's sudden death in 2009 shook the family and the industry alike. Through grief and art, the Redgraves endured, proving that artistry and pain often share the same lineage. Epilogue: the blood beneath the glitter. Behind every spotlight lies a shadow. Hollywood's golden glow was built on more than talent. It was built on family, families that shaped, haunted, and redeemed each other through fame and failure alike. Some passed down genius, others grief. Some built empires, others fled from their surnames. But in the end, these hidden bloodlines remind us that even the icons of the silver screen were bound by the same human threads that bind us all: love, rivalry, secrecy, and the eternal desire to be remembered. Because in Hollywood, even legends are born from ordinary hearts, and sometimes the greatest dramas aren't written on paper. They're inherited